Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I've never had a microphone like this before.
I know, it's kind of fun. I'm gonna do my little intro looking towards that camera.
Okay.
And we'll just get into it. Hey guys, it's Natalia and welcome back to Unfiltered Fashion Talks. Today we have my bestie Megan. It's about time I have you on here. I've literally been waiting so long to have you on, but I was like, I just want to wait till I'm in studio, till we're in person. And now here we are.
It's pretty legit, I will say.
Pretty legit.
It's pretty legit. Happy to
Yeah.
be here.
I am so happy that you're here. How are you doing today?
You know, we went to hairstyles last night.
Yes, we did.
Wearing my One Direction merch.
I love to see
in
it.
honor. So, you know, we're a little sleepy, but still
We're pulling through.
we're pulling through.
Yeah. It was quite the night.
Yeah.
But we didn't lose our voices, so that
I know.
that's a win.
Yeah,
that is a win in my book.
It is.
Okay. Well, anyway, for those who don't know you, give us a little background on yourself. A little bio, if you will.
Okay. I'm a sustainability influencer, creator, educator, whatever term
All
you
the
want to
things.
use. I've been doing this for like 10 years, but like seriously 2 years. Going into my third year, I guess, now doing this full time on Instagram and TikTok, and I have a website, a YouTube coming along.
Yes, YouTube era.
Natalia's convinced me.
Yes.
Yeah, and I talk about like sustainable living, sustainable fashion, and my whole approach to it is doing things imperfectly, striving for progress and not perfection. There's no perfect sustainability anything. There's no perfect sustainable lifestyle. There's no perfect sustainable outfit. So kind of diving into the nuances of that and just encouraging people to like do your best and advocate for the rest. And
that was beautifully worded.
Yeah, thank you.
I love that little rhyme and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously, gotta ask, how did you get into everything? I mean, starting on the fashion side of things, because you had your little blog, your little blogger moment.
Oh, yeah.
And then that transitioned into like sustainability. So
so I started my fashion blog in 2012, which like
is crazy.
So long ago. I was a freshman in high school.
Insane.
And I went to this summer camp, which I feel like this says a lot about me as a person. The business of fashion.
You would.
Summer camp in Manhattan. I would like take the train into the city, and we heard from all these different people that worked in the fashion industry, but on the business side. So like buyers, merchandisers, people in finance, like all these kinds of people. And we had bloggers come and speak to us. The Wanderlust girls, I think they still exist.
Yes.
So yeah, they came and spoke to us.
Wow.
And they said that they got free clothes because they had a blog. And I was like, say less. Like, I guess I'm starting a blog. So that's what I did. And I started a little like WordPress fashion blog, and I didn't tell anybody about it for like a year. The first year that I had it was just secret. A lot of pictures just like most definitely illegally pulled from Pinterest. And like, these are the trends, and like, this is what's on my wish list, and fashion is so fun. And then I started kind of documenting my outfits a little bit. I did go to a school that had a uniform in high school. So we would have dress down days is what we called them. I think once a month.
Oh.
You had to pay like $5 to wear regular clothes. But
what the heck?
But I, being a fashion girl, I was like, this is my opportunity to like wear something cute and prove that like I have style.
Duh.
So I would have my little brother take pictures of my outfits, like on this, not even a phone, like a little digital camera.
Cute.
And I would upload them. I think for a while I like cropped my head out of it just because I didn't want people to know about it. And I loved it. I was like having a really good time and decided to tell my parents about it. Like, I have this blog and this is what I'm doing. And they just really encouraged me to keep going for it. So continued to do a lot of just like total fashion focused stuff. All of it was about fast fashion at the time. My tagline.
We all started.
I think we all did. And at that time, like in my head, especially in that like magazine era, where like, you're reading 17 and Teen Vogue and like all these magazines all the time, style was trends.
Oh yeah, like personal style was not talked about.
No. And I thought that that's what being fashionable equaled, like having all the trendy items. So I think my tagline at the time was like, fashion on a babysitter's budget.
I love
And
that.
it would just be like fast fashion.
Yeah.
Because that's all I could afford at the time. I was
Right.
overbuying, and that's another issue we can get into.
You and me both.
But that's what it was all about. And I did end up getting free clothes. I think my first brand partner was Wet Seal.
Really?
Yeah, and I could just like pick free clothes, and it was the most thrilling experience of my entire life. I was like, yeah, I want to do this for a really long time. So I kept it up pretty seriously through high school. Used it in my like college essay to show that I would be a good business student.
I
I'm like,
love
I look
that.
at my analytics, and like these are all the brands
Yes.
I've worked with, all free at the time. So I get to college. My plan is to study business
Mhm.
and maybe do marketing. I think my dream job at the time was like social media for H&M.
Wow, we've come a long way.
Things have changed. But it was my first semester. I went to USC. My first semester, we had a required freshman writing class that like everybody had to take,
Mhm.
Writing 150. And I picked the one that fit in my schedule and the professor that had the least bad reviews. And the first paper I ever had to write in college was issues with sustainability in the industry that you want to work in.
That's wild. Like
Literally
first paper.
crazy. And if I hadn't taken that class, like who knows where I'd be.
Right.
But I had to write that paper, and somebody in my class recommended I watch The True Cost, which I think is a lot of people's
Classic.
introduction into sustainability in fashion and
Yeah.
ethics in fashion. And I joke that I like never stopped writing that paper because I just like, it was shocking to me.
Mhm.
And I loved my blog, and it was something I was continuing for 4 years at that point. I was like,
Right.
I'm good. This is really important to me, and I love it. But at the same time, I was like, knowing this information, how can I continue to
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I go to the mall every weekend, and like these are the trends, and
Right.
so that was kind of the beginning of my sustainable fashion, sustainability journey in general, and it's just been quite the process since
It's always
then.
a process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's kind of how I got into this. So fashion was my first love, and
Yes.
sustainability came in the middle.
Mhm.
But I still like will always love fashion. I'm not like the
Mhm.
type of sustainable fashion person that's like, you can't buy any new clothes ever, and you have
Right.
to wear the same thing every single day, and you have a uniform, or like you can only
Yeah.
wear
Not like a
earth-tone
capsule
linens.
closet kind of
Yeah,
gal.
literally.
I could never.
No, I couldn't.
Never.
So that's why I went through phases of thinking that that's what I had to do or
Yeah.
had to wear to like call myself
Right.
sustainable. And that's why I think I focus so much of my time on being like, look, it looks different for everybody.
It does.
Fashion's supposed to be fun. It's such an individual thing to express the way you feel and like just
Right.
all of that. Why would you limit yourself based on some like arbitrary idea of what sustainable looks like?
Exactly. That was beautifully
Oh,
worded.
thank you.
Okay, what were some of like the first things that like shocked you about the fashion industry when you started going into like the sustainable aspect of it?
I think the first thing that was really shocking was when I was watching The True Cost, just
Mhm.
like seeing the conditions in which the clothes were made.
Yeah. It's insane.
It's insane. And I think something that fast fashion does really well separate the process of making the clothing from what they're selling to you. Like
Yeah.
if you pick up a shirt in a fast fashion store, you're not like, oh my gosh, what's the story behind this? Like, how
Right.
is this made? What's it made of? You're just looking at it and you're like, oh, $5? Yeah.
Right.
So seeing all of the women like hand stitching embroidery into a little like baby t-shirt that's going to be sold for $3.
Right.
It was shocking. And I just like felt like nauseous, I guess is like the best way to
Mhm.
describe it. I just was like, it was icky.
Yeah.
And it made me think so much more about what goes into making clothes. I at that point had gone to like sewing camp in middle school where I made like a box dress
Yep.
with ties on the
A
shoulder.
classic.
A classic in this hideous polka dot pattern fabric. It was horrible, but it took me weeks to learn how to like press the presser foot so that I wouldn't like speed
Yeah.
off into the sunset, or that it would go faster than like one stitch at a time.
Right.
So I had a little bit of an idea of what went into sewing,
Yeah.
but like if you think about a pair of jeans,
I don't even want to think about making a pair of jeans.
no, but just looking at it, like the
Yeah,
zippers
there's
and
so
all the
much.
little like the
all
pockets
the hardware and everything.
and all the seams, like
Yeah.
my little box dress, the seams looked hideous on the inside, but you're not looking at them. Like, but you
Right.
are looking at the inside seams of all the things that you buy when you put
Yeah.
them on and when you wash them. So I think that was the first thing that was really shocking. And then
Yeah.
also just the waste. Like, I think there was one of those classic pictures of just like a landfill full of clothes.
Right.
And it's like,
It's like, how do you even go from there?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, me too. I think with the whole like the making of the clothing, I've always found it really interesting because I've sewed for so long and like I know how much goes into sewing, but I never like correlated it.
yeah.
And because I just assumed like, oh, they're professionals, they probably do it faster than I do. But it's like, no, they're
Like,
also
they're probably
humans.
your age,
Yeah.
too.
Or
They're
even
so young.
younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've also like found it fascinating that like we know that sweatshops are a thing and you grow up knowing that.
Yeah.
But you just like, I guess, are taught that that's the norm. So you don't ever get taught to think otherwise, that it could be the other way around. So I'm like, you're just naturally like, oh yeah, this was made in China in a sweatshop.
Yeah.
But you don't like think about like, oh, that's a human behind that.
Uh-huh.
Like, why are we conditioned for that? Blows my mind.
As I think with a lot of things, even like in the service industry,
Yeah.
like you think about the food that's being put on your table and like how fast your drink is coming out.
Right.
You're not necessarily thinking about the servers and the people that are
Literally.
cooking the food and everything that goes on behind the scenes. So I think that's also something that I just loved about sustainable fashion was
Yeah.
there's always a story
Right.
behind everything. Like I could speak for like a whole hour about my outfit and where everything comes from and like how I decided to buy it and if it was secondhand and where I got it and how much it was.
Yeah.
Because I love those stories.
Mhm.
And so finding those brands at the beginning of my sustainable fashion journey that were like, we work with this specific farm in India to grow regenerative cotton.
Mhm.
And this is what that means. And this is how we like hand stamp the fabric. And this is why it's $300.
Right.
Like it was still shocking to
Totally.
see how expensive that was. But I was like, oh, like
It makes sense.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm the same way. I think it also over time now I'm starting to like not be so shocked by the prices anymore. I'm like, $300? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
legit. And now
Especially
like,
when you make your own stuff.
yeah, I mean, I sell things for that
Yeah,
amount of
you
money and
do.
I'm like, I should get paid more.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it does just take time though to like switch the mindset coming from like fast fashion of buying things at like $2. I literally once got a shirt at Aeropostale when I was in middle school for 99 cents.
Yeah.
Like that
Like-
just does not make sense.
Like the dollar tanks and the dollar tees at
Yeah.
Forever 21.
I'm like, how did you even pay for the material, the labor cost? Like, there's no way.
it's just shipping. Like it's not made
Yeah,
in the US. I mean,
literally.
I'm like a supply chain girl now, so that's what I studied in grad school.
Yes.
And that like there's so much that goes into just gathering the materials and the
Mhm.
finishings and the packaging all into one place to be put together and
Yeah.
then shipped out to a distribution center, which goes to a store, which goes to your front door. Like there's
Yeah.
so much that goes into it. How can you possibly sell something for $1?
It makes no sense to me. It blows my mind. Yeah, speaking of supply chain, I feel like we should get into that because that is obviously your expertise. I don't know much, but what I do know is that in the fashion industry, the supply chain is so big and so expansive that I don't think anybody even knows how to keep track of it, even within
No.
their own brand. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what drew me to supply chains in the beginning. Well,
Mhm.
first of all, after I started this whole sustainability, like I need to do something sustainable in fashion,
Mhm.
I knew marketing wasn't like the best fit anymore. Because I
Yeah.
was like, can toe the line into greenwashing. Like people could just say
Mhm.
whatever, but how do we like actually make fashion sustainable? So I Googled, not Googled, looked in the course catalog of USC classes and just searched the term sustainability. And there was one class. It was called Sustainable Supply Chains. And I was like, huh, what's a supply chain? Googled it and was like, okay, yeah, seems practical. Like, I think I'll do that. And that's how
funny.
I decided to study supply chains in
I did
grad
not know
school.
that.
Yeah, and I think what really drew me to supply chains is that there's so much room for improvement.
Yeah.
And there are so many areas that can be impacted or that have an impact on people or the planet.
Yes.
I mean, I started my master's program before COVID.
Right.
I feel like during the pandemic, people started to get an idea of what a supply chain was.
Yeah.
Before that, nobody had really heard of it.
No.
But my favorite way of describing it is like from concept to consumer. So it's after somebody designs something,
Mm-hmm.
the next step after just the like concept is getting the materials, deciding where you're going to make it, how
Mhm.
much you're going to make, where you're going to ship it, what the
Right.
packaging materials are, what you're going to do with the waste.
Yeah.
Are you going to fly it overseas? Are you going to put it on a boat that takes 3 months to get to the US?
Mhm.
Are you going to like overnight ship it to somebody's front door? Or are you only going to have it in a store? Those are all the things that you think about with supply chains and fashion.
Right.
And when you think about that, there's so many sustainability areas
So
and
many.
ethics issues. Like there's so many just people that are involved
Too many.
and resources.
Yes.
And so it's important and there's a lot of room for change, but it's
Mhm.
also really hard to track. Like fashion's
So
such a
hard.
global industry.
Yeah.
And that's why it's also a hard industry to regulate because like if a company is based in the US but none of their stuff is made here,
You can't regulate that.
yeah, or if a company is based in the UK and like we have stores here,
Right.
what can we say? Like you
Literally
can't
nothing.
sell here?
Right.
Like that's not going to work very well.
No.
Yeah, so supply chains are complicated.
Very much so. I just like think about even just like the shipping of like one place to another from like the growing the cotton probably in India to like shipping it elsewhere to be like making the fabric and then like even just that in itself I'm like wow.
Yeah.
And that's not even like offcuts of the fabric, which I feel like are not talked about enough, but
No.
offcuts are like my favorite thing. I'm like,
There's
there's so much. I'm like, that's so much fabric that could be used.
Yeah.
It kills me.
Well, because if you've never visited, and that's another thing that I love about like having a better idea of what the process of making clothes is
Mhm.
like, which we don't get as like an average
No, but I
fashion
think
person.
everybody should learn how to sew.
I think so too, because you're gonna have all these little fabric scraps that are like a teeny weird little triangle,
Yes.
and it's like, what do you
Right.
just throw it away? And then you think about that on a larger scale, like what
Yeah.
happens in manufacturing places where they just stack like
Literally.
feet of fabric on top of each
and like
other
laser cut it.
laser cut it, and
Insane.
yeah,
Yeah. I think about that all the time. I'm like, if I could just take people's offcuts, I could do so much.
yeah,
But they usually just get thrown away.
yeah.
Which is tragic. But we're doing our best.
Yeah, we're doing our best. This is where I think I get overwhelmed
Me
with like
too.
all of the problems that there
Yeah.
are. And like this is where I try to lean more into my like imperfect individual environmentalism. Like
Yeah.
I do my best. I shop secondhand, I shop mindfully, I support sustainable brands when I can.
Mhm.
Do my best to like nicely poke my friends in the
Yeah.
side that still shop fast fashion on a regular basis. Maybe not so nicely.
Yeah, I was like, I don't do it very
Yeah, no.
nicely, but
But like I do the best that I can.
Yeah.
And it's not my responsibility, even though I'm aware of all these issues that are happening in the
Yeah.
industry. It's not my responsibility to fix it.
Right.
It doesn't feel great always.
No.
And I'm trying to get more involved in like policy, like the
Yeah.
Fashion Act out of New
Right.
York, the Fabric Act, which is like in
Mhm.
Congress at the moment. The Garment Worker Protection Act was a big thing in California.
Yeah.
Like that to me feels like really impactful.
Mhm.
I don't know anything about writing laws. I don't know anything about the legislative process.
I don't either.
You tell me what you're trying to pass.
And I will support.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you don't, yeah. It's when I talk about all these issues, I get very flustered, and I'm like, oh, there's so much
No,
more that we
yeah.
could be doing, and I'm sure you feel that too as
Oh,
a brand.
absolutely. As a brand, half the time I'm like, I shouldn't even be making new clothes. I feel guilty even just like even buying dead stock fabric, which is literally leftover fabric that would have been thrown away anyway. I'm like, why am I making more clothes when there's so much secondhand and like I buy everything secondhand too. I like
Yeah.
never shop new. So then I'm out here promoting that like you go out and buy something new, and I'm like, no. But also at the same time, it's like you should be able to enjoy life and enjoy like the things that bring you joy. And I feel like that's such a hard like balance to have, because like fashion brings me joy, brings a lot of people joy to like
Yeah.
dress up and like not wear the same outfit 24/7 and like, do fun things like that. But then if you think about it too much, it just gets so overwhelming.
Yeah. I think it's the same with like the beginning of my sustainability journey.
Mhm.
The only like people I had to look up to, I guess, at that moment were like the trash jar, zero waste vegans
Yeah, that's what
that
I
wore
started
like
with too.
all earth toned linen clothing.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not my vibe.
And had like beautiful pantries with matching mason jars, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm living in a dorm.
Yeah, me living in New York, I was
all
like, this
the
is
way
not gonna
across the
fly.
country from where I grew up. Like,
Yup.
I can't do this, and also
No.
like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I just completely wrote it off. I was like, well, obviously, I can't be like that. I don't really want to be like that. So
Right.
it's not for me. Like I just can't do it, and I gave up.
Mhm.
And I think that's something really dangerous on like an
Yeah.
individual level.
I agree.
Which is why we have to focus so much on the just doing the best that you can.
Right.
If your best is shopping secondhand, but shopping like a little, like a lot secondhand, like having a lot of clothes, but if that's something that totally brings you joy,
Right.
do it. See what other areas of your life you can have a little bit less of an impact. Like I get an iced tea every single day.
Yeah.
I was on my way to get an iced tea when Natalia told me I was running late. Like
Yeah.
that brings me joy. I
Right.
love shopping. I will walk around a thrift store for hours and
Mhm.
buy clothes that I probably don't need, but I love it.
Yeah.
And life is about joy.
It is. You should enjoy your life. You're not just like put on this earth to, I don't know, be depressed about all the issues.
Yeah. And it's not like you buying clothes secondhand or like too many clothes new or
Mhm.
me having too many iced teas that's like warming the planet
Right.
1 degree Celsius.
Right.
Every time we do that, like it's much bigger.
It is.
And so when you can just say I don't have like high expectations of myself. Like this is what I can do. I'm going to stick to it, do my best,
Mhm.
and try to get the big brands to do better.
Right. Yeah, it's always the big brands. Always circle back to them.
But I also feel like people are a lot harder on the small brands.
They are.
I'm curious
I
to
feel
hear your thoughts on that because
yeah.
you
I
guys
feel
are
like I
often the ones
get-
that are trying.
Yeah,
the
I get so
most.
much shit for things, and I'm like, I'm literally a single human being
Yeah.
running this entire business by myself, and people will be like, I don't know, saying things about like I use dead stock, so sometimes dead stock is polyester
Yeah.
or like is something not sustainable, quote unquote, but it's like it's dead stock, so it's secondhand, whatever. And people will be like, well, that's not very sustainable because that's polyester. I'm like, well, I'd rather use something that's already made than take up like a bunch of resources to grow
Grow something
cotton and
new.
like make something new. Even if it is a sustainable fabric, I'm like, there's no perfect solution.
Yeah.
I'm like, I prefer using dead stock than like using organic cotton or something new.
Yeah.
We don't need anything more new,
Yeah.
you know?
And there are brands out there that just use the new stuff. Like
Yeah,
everybody has
exactly.
different approaches to it,
Yeah.
and you can find what aligns with your values. But yeah, sustainable fashion is so complicated.
It
I do a lot
is.
of these like Instagram posts where I like point to the different things in my outfit and like talk about why it's sustainable.
Yeah, I love those.
because
It's important.
it's important. Like these jeans, Levi's, like they're having a lot of ethical issues.
Yeah,
with,
they are.
with their manufacturing. It's like a stretch denim.
Right.
Is it the most sustainably made? No.
No.
But I got them secondhand
Yeah.
and I wear them
All the
like
time.
twice a day.
Yeah.
Like I literally wear them all the time.
Yeah.
It's by far the best purchase I've made. I
Yeah.
think I only got them last year and I like truly wear them all the time.
No, I agree.
That is a sustainable purchase.
Right. That's what I always tell, even like to my friends that shop fast fashion. I'm like, I don't care if you shop at Zara, but if you find like the most perfect pair of pants that fit you so perfectly and like you're gonna wear them all the time, buy them at Zara.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Because it's more sustainable than
Yeah.
buying a whole bunch of like sustainably made stuff that doesn't quite
Exactly.
fit right and you're like, it's fine. Or like going to a
Yeah.
thrift store and buying like 9, 10 different pairs of pants and like
right.
trying to fix it up. Like,
yeah.
no, the
No.
most sustainable clothing is what you'll actually wear.
Yes.
If that means buying something from a fast fashion brand, I will like turn
I know, we
turn a
just
blind
will
eye.
not
I will
listen.
plug my ears.
Yeah.
But like if you're gonna wear it a lot and you're
Right.
gonna commit to following the care instructions and not shrinking it when you wash it for the first time, and
Right.
if a button falls off, sewing it back on, like
Yeah.
that's a sustainable purchase decision.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, yeah, for me, looking into my closet, I've been doing a lot of closet audits lately. You've inspired that.
Yeah.
But I have so many pieces that I just haven't grown since middle school, so everything still fits me. But I have so many pieces that are fast fashion like stuff, probably from Forever 21, that I've had for over 10 years that I still wear consistently to this day, and I'm like, that's probably more sustainable than this dress that I got secondhand on Poshmark.
Yeah.
Because I've worn it so many times over the past 10 years. And as long as I don't grow anymore, I will keep wearing them.
Yes, as you should.
Yeah.
Like my favorite bikini is Shein from the thrift store.
No, I was like, Megan.
No.
That's funny.
No. But yeah, and
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh my gosh, where'd you get your swimsuit?" And I'm like, "Don't
That's when you
ask
have to
me."
be like, I got it
It's
secondhand.
like,
I
yeah.
thrifted it.
Yeah.
You
I
don't have to
thrifted
say
it.
the brand.
Yeah, but then they're always asking like, "Oh, but what does the tag say?"
I'm
So
like,
it's-
I can't read. All of a sudden, I
It's
can't.
gone.
Yeah, what are words?
But it's interesting how people will still have strange reactions to that. Like,
I
oh my
know.
gosh, you bought Shein at the thrift store? Like, you have Shein in your closet?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, but it's
I know, but
Like,
it is
it-
secondhand. It's
it
fine.
is yeah,
But,
like it's better
yeah.
than going to the landfill,
Right.
which is like probably where it was headed.
I know. It's an issue because I have that issue whenever I see Shein. I don't want to buy it because
Yeah.
that feels wrong to
Yeah.
me, even though I know it's not wrong because it's at, like Goodwill or something. But like
Yeah.
it just feels like I'm betraying myself.
Yeah. But I also used to be that way with like Forever 21 and H&M. I guess those
Yeah.
were like the big
Yeah, those were
fast
bigger
fashion
back.
brands when
yeah.
I was growing up.
Me too.
So I used to like totally get the ick when I would see them at the thrift store and be like,
Mhm.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
But some of my most worn stuff is from those brands.
Same.
Like maybe not the most high quality stuff, but a basic,
Yeah.
like little white button down shirt
Right.
does the trick.
Yeah, it does the job
Yeah.
as long as you take care of it.
And nobody can see what brand it is.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, it really is not that deep.
I think that's also like kind of residual like mind fucking that I have
Yeah.
from all the fashion magazines. Like
Yeah.
these are the brands to shop at, and like the big logos. Like Abercrombie
Right.
was huge
Oh my
when I was
God,
in
yeah.
middle school.
Yeah.
Like the logo across your chest, and
Yeah.
like
That's just what it was all like Hollister, Aeropostale, all of them
yeah,
were just straight up the name of the store,
yeah.
and that's it.
And I also feel like our first gut reaction to somebody being like, "Oh my gosh, I love your dress,"
Mm-hmm.
is
to
for you to say, "Oh,
"Oh, I
here's
got
where it's
it."
from."
Yeah. But then I'm like,
But do we need to be? Oh
No.
thank you. Like
Gatekeep.
I love it.
girl boss, gaslight, gatekeep.
Yes. Yeah.
Not actually. You can tell people where it's
Or
from,
like
but-
launch into a whole 20-minute story. Like this jacket, I got it at
Let me
Melrose
tell
Trading
ya.
Post in 2016 for $20 at the stand when you go in to the right
Yep.
and then to the right again. And it's the best thing in the whole world. And there's somebody's
Yes.
like name on the inside.
Oh,
somewhere.
really?
I think maybe.
That's cute. I have a couple of blouses
Right?
that also have somebody's name on it. I'm like, this is kind of fun.
Yeah. It's like historical.
It is. It just feels extra special than just getting some random thing.
Yeah.
You know? I love that.
Little secondhand stories.
Yeah, we love those.
Yeah.
I'm trying to fill my closet up with more secondhand. Though it's almost like 50% secondhand at this point, which I was shocked about.
And also, what, 50% made by you?
30% like made by me, and like,
That's amazing.
yeah, a good amount is just like old fast fashion or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
Do that.
Yeah. Okay. Also going more into your imperfect environmentalism. I feel like
Mhm.
that's what drew me to you in the first place. Cause see, I followed Megan a long time ago and she didn't know who I was. And one day she learned who I was and now we're besties. That's how the story goes. But anyway, I was a big fan. Still I'm a big fan. But I just feel like when I got into the sustainability space, I also ended up following all the like, zero waste jar girlies, and like they're very inspirational. Like
Oh,
the fact that people
totally.
can even do that
amazing.
blows my mind.
Yeah.
But obviously accessibility is a huge part of that. And like me having grown up in the Midwest, there's nothing. No bulk stores to go to, not like I don't know, it's like in LA I can I honestly haven't been to the bookstore and I really need to go.
I'll go with you.
I know. I'm just
Field
like scared of
trip.
going by myself, but
Play
anyway,
date.
we'll go. But even I think of like there's farmers markets every single day in LA that I could go to
All year round.
year round.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is such a blessing. Like in Indiana, we'd have a like once a week in the summer because that's the only time you can be outside.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, the accessibility is just so crazy. And I feel like you really put that into perspective for me when I started following you. Even just like on days where you're talking about just like literally not physically being able to get up and like make yourself food and like having to order something or little things like that I feel like I also feel guilty about sometimes because I'm like, I could just cook something, but it's like if I have my period and I'm dying of cramps, I don't want to get up / I can't get up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna order something and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna feel bad about the packaging it comes in.
Because the priority at that point is feeding yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You're really good about that.
Yeah. I mean, I was like forced to reckon with that a little bit.
Right.
I think when I started my sustainable lifestyle journey, I was very much so a perfectionist.
Yeah.
When I was on social media at the time, I didn't show any of the plastic I used. Like, I'd go to the grocery
No.
store, take all the plastic out, take a nice little like framed picture. Like, look at all this.
Yeah.
Like, I very much so was worried about the image of sustainability that I was putting forward. And also just like personally dealing with a lot of perfection paralysis. Like, if I can't do this perfectly, what's the point?
We're the same
Why
person.
try? Which is not the energy we need to be bringing to the environmental movement.
The same way.
Yeah.
With anything.
And so I, was doing my best to do a lot of sustainable things. I was living my most sustainable life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, taking the metro to the bulk store.
Yep.
With all my jars, going to farmers markets every day, like composting in my freezer of my shared fridge with my 4 roommates in college.
That's dedication.
Yeah, like I was doing a lot of those things.
Yeah.
And then I was hit with a debilitating chronic illness.
Yeah.
Couldn't carry my groceries, couldn't carry my little reusable teacup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were so many just basic life things that I couldn't do anymore. And so I was like, well, I feel like shit about this. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, yeah, I would love to feel better so I can do all these things that I was doing. But, like, am I a bad person?
No.
Because I can't, am I a bad environmentalist?
Right.
Because I, like, physically can't carry groceries anymore and like have to get them delivered or have to drive half a mile to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of just like mental processing going on during that whole time. I mean, in addition to like feeling like shit every day for like 2 years. But the moment I started talking about that, especially on TikTok, I think I was surprised by the response and how positive it was. Mm-hmm. People were like, oh, I can do that. Yeah. Or like, I don't live in LA, but I live in Indiana. And like, we don't have farmers markets.
No, we don't.
So like, I choose the best options at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's going to be plastic. Yeah, it's going to be like shipped from who knows where. But that's the best option that's available to me.
Exactly.
And so that I'm doing good.
Right.
And it made me feel a lot better by sharing and being like, this is something I really care about and I can't do enough.
Right.
Enough.
Yeah, that's all relative. But
yeah. And so I didn't know that that's how you found me on social media.
Oh my God, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's
the story.
It's that kind of positivity and like, everybody's welcome here instead of like, if you aren't vegan and zero waste and plastic free, you aren't sustainable. You can't be part of this movement. Yeah. You aren't good enough. We don't need any more of that.
No, that's what like scared me off because I was like, I can't be vegan. I eat a lot of vegan meals and like I'm not against it, but I'm like, I can't be vegan.
It's a major lifestyle change. Yeah. And if you don't have the energy and the like mental capacity to really focus on making that change to your daily life and your daily habits, it's going to be exhausting and you're going to give up.
Right.
So it's better to just say, I'm going to eat a vegan meal a day.
Right.
Or I'm gonna
Like, you can cut down on it.
instead of buying meat this week, I'm gonna buy tofu or like
Right.
some kind of plant-based alternative.
Yeah.
It's so much more like sustainable
It
in
is.
life.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
sustainability shouldn't be something that takes 99.9% of your energy from the day
Right.
and focus. It's about building habits
That you
as
can
an individual that you
sustain.
can sustain.
Yeah.
Which often means like doing one thing at a time
Right.
and not like, oh, overnight I'm gonna become this eco-girly, zero
Yeah.
waste, like vegan. It's not gonna work.
No, we've all tried. Like when
We've all tried.
yeah, when I first moved out on my own, I was so excited because I was like, oh, I'm gonna live by myself because my parents love them. They're not very sustainable, nor do they care about anything that much. They're doing a lot better now, but like,
Takes time.
it takes time.
Yeah.
But I was so excited. I was like, I'm gonna move out. I'm gonna get all these like fancy little cleaning products that are all sustainable. I'm gonna do all these things, blah blah blah. But then I just like realized it was getting expensive to do it personally because I had to ship everything. It's not like I could go get that stuff in person, so that was kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And it was just like not super sustainable for me, and I was like feeling bad about it. And then I just like wouldn't show the things that like I don't know, things like bathroom cleaners. I have yet to find a good sustainable one.
Yeah, I
like,
got the Clorox
Yeah,
blue bleach,
literally
whatever, like
the classic stuff. I'm like, I can't not use it, but then you feel bad for even showing that you use it. I'm like, you know what?
Like, what's the alternative? You're gonna have
Yeah,
a dirty toilet?
I know. I'm like,
and,
I don't want a dirty
million
toilet.
different sustainable options that you're trying, and you're like,
Literally.
you're probably gonna make mustard gas accidentally in your bathroom. Like,
Yeah,
like
it's
no
little things.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's a process.
it is a process. It's just like unlearning the perfectionism around it.
I think also social media adds an really interesting
Yes.
layer to that.
Yeah,
Especially TikTok. I think people love
Mhm.
to like nitpick, find holes in
Oh
what you're
my
saying,
God,
or like,
yeah.
but you said this 2 weeks ago, or like
right.
it's a 30-second, 1 minute,
I
like
know.
max 3-minute video on the internet. There's no way that you can fully
Say everything.
say everything and all the nuances and all the background of everything.
Yeah.
And I hope that as a society we stop jumping to conclusions in like the worst sense
Yeah.
of the way, like in the worst way, and
Right.
instead just like move forward with a little more empathy. Like instead of like, oh my God, is that plastic? Being like, oh, I noticed that plastic. Have you tried like this sustainable thing? Like even
Right.
that just like shift in tone.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, is
Huge difference.
yeah.
Yeah. I get that too all the time. I guess more on like the brand side of things. Even just like shipping fabrics when I was in India. I still
Yeah.
ship fabrics because I hate going to the fashion
Yeah.
district. But I'm doing better about it. But anyway.
Because I drive you.
Yeah, oh my God. Literally. Thank God for Megan. But yeah, just things like people would be like, well, you're shipping fabrics, so that's a huge cost. Or like you do international shipping, like that's not very like good for
Yeah.
carbon image. I'm like, first of all, I've got carbon neutral shipping,
Yeah.
so shut up. But also but then people will even take that and be like, well, that doesn't just like cancel it out. Like it's still doing harm. I'm like, girly pop, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Like
And like just because somebody doesn't live in the US or just because they don't live in LA,
mhm.
does that mean they don't deserve to have your clothes if they really want it?
Right. I'm like,
What if they don't have a super sustainable option locally to them?
exactly.
Like we live in a global economy
Mhm.
and a capitalist society. Like
yeah.
things aren't going to change so drastically.
Yeah.
So the best thing is to do it mindfully.
Yes.
And offer the carbon neutral shipping and make your brand so that people are investing in these pieces and they're going to love them for a long time and they're really well made
Mhm.
with dead stock material. Like
Right.
it's not the like emissions Olympics.
I know, seriously. I feel like it always ends up being that. Even like I travel pretty often. Mostly because I do have family in different countries and like I just grew up having to travel a bunch.
Yeah.
But I even feel guilty sometimes like posting a picture on a plane because I know one day somebody's going to say something about it. Have yet to get that comment, but I just know one day it's going to happen.
I feel like I've definitely gotten one of those. Well, because in
Yeah.
college, I was in LA and my family was in New York.
Yeah, it's you have to.
I-
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and all my siblings went to New York, like went to school in New York too. So they
Yeah.
were like a 3-hour drive from home,
Right.
and I was like, yeah, 6-hour flight,
Literally.
like, and all the time you spend in the airport.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't gonna not see my family.
Exactly.
I'm still the same way. Like I'm not flying every weekend.
No,
And
absolutely
when
not.
I go, I try to stay for a few weeks.
Right.
So that it makes sense. But like the maybe 2 years in college that I didn't go home for Thanksgiving because I was like 2 weeks later was gonna be home for Christmas. I was miserable.
That's so sad.
Like
Megan.
what's the point
Yeah.
of like the
Yeah.
plane's flying there anyway.
I know.
It's a balance. It's about
It
a
is.
balance. Like there's a difference between the celebrities that are flying everywhere. We're not gonna name names.
We're not gonna name drop Miss T Swift on that one.
We're not, because Natalia
Yeah.
loves her.
We're gonna name drop the Kardashians, if anything.
Yeah, but like any kind of
Yeah.
person that has that kind of travel accessible to them.
Yes. That's insane.
And they're doing it excessively.
And for like short distances that
For
don't
short
make
distances,
sense.
like because they don't want to be stuck in traffic.
yeah,
like
in LA to Palm Springs, like LA to another part of LA, like it just
yeah.
is
Like
ridiculous.
I pick an airline that offsets the emissions.
Right.
I fly direct because
Yeah.
some article on the internet said that was better, and I believe it.
It makes sense.
Like I do
Yeah.
what I can, but I'm not gonna not see my family. I'm
Right.
not gonna live in New York if it's gonna make me miserable
yeah.
just
Yeah, I
because my
don't.
family is there. Not gonna happen.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I love that. Okay. So for people that are wanting to go into the sustainability space / starting that, where would you recommend like starting to like change habits, or like what were the first few things that like you thought were easier to implement, I guess?
I think like I cannot stress this enough. Start small.
Yes.
Like
I agree.
it might seem like you're doing the most trivial little thing, but like
Yeah.
sustainable living as an individual is about making habits.
Yes.
Because again, it could get really overwhelming if you're going to become vegan overnight and you're like not going to have any plastic. Like it's so many
It's too
things for you to
much.
think about
Yeah.
that you just give up.
Yeah.
So the first thing I started with was a reusable straw. I was going to Starbucks twice a day on campus, getting big drinks, and this was at the height of the like Save the Turtles movement.
Yep.
It's like, oh my gosh, I have to bring a straw everywhere with me.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, it was like a struggle to remember a straw on my way
Yeah.
out the door. And then I started putting it in my backpack, like a little case of them.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I go to Starbucks, I'd be like, oh, I don't need a straw.
Like
And I would just have my reusable straw. And it, within a few weeks, it was like second nature. Like those straws just lived in my backpack.
Yeah.
And I had quite a few, and it was something I always remembered to do. And then I could move on to the next thing, which was like a fork and a knife. I would always get food on campus. Did it still
Mhm.
come in a little plastic tub? Absolutely. But I would have my own fork. Like I didn't need the
Yeah.
little plastic fork too.
That's something.
It's little things like that
Yeah.
that allowed me to get to where I am today, where I compost and I like make my own iced tea concentrate and
Mhm.
bring my like big reusable cup around with me everywhere.
Literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, and like my it's
It
in
is
my bag
everywhere.
over there.
Literally, I'm not even surprised.
But yeah, it's like it sounds like you're starting with something really small,
Mhm.
but you need to build those habits and you need to start small.
Yeah.
So if you're going to start composting, put a little bin on like your kitchen counter.
Right.
When you're cooking food, if you see it there and it's like visible to you, you'll probably remember to put stuff in there. It's going to start smelling eventually.
Yeah.
But if that's what you need, like if you need to see it visually on your counter to be like, oh yeah, I'm like cutting this vegetable, I'm going to put the little pit
right.
in there. Like, do it. And then once you're used to saving your little scraps for your compost pile, you can move it to your freezer so that it doesn't smell. But you
Mhm.
already are in the habit of being like, okay, yeah, I'm cutting my vegetables. I'm going to save all the stuff, like the
Right.
skins and the pits. And I'm just going to put it in the freezer with the rest of my pile. But it's like, start small. I also think you should start with something that you use on a regular basis. So like
Mhm.
straws. I was going to Starbucks.
Yeah.
Twice
That
a
makes
day.
sense for you.
You don't go to Starbucks twice a day.
No.
Like it would probably wouldn't make sense for you to focus
No.
on that. For you, Miss Fashionista, maybe like washing your clothes in cold water, hang drying your clothes.
Mine
like,
is definitely clothing.
Yeah, if that's something that you do more often, or like if people go shopping all the time, maybe like keeping a wish list and like really sticking to it, or like writing down all the things that you added to your cart and then X out.
Right.
And then the next day come back and just like
reassess. Yeah.
Learn how to sew a button back on. Like little
things.
Skills like that. Or like if you wash your hair every day, switch to a shampoo bar. Or like a bamboo toothbrush. It's an easy swap. It's something you change every few months.
Right. Nothing crazy.
If you're good.
Yeah, if you actually remember.
It's just like, it's a little thing. Like there are a lot of easy entry points nowadays. But I also think like if you're doing something sustainable just because it's sustainable, you're not going to stick with it. So starting with something that like fits into your daily life, or something you're super passionate about, like fashion, start there. Yeah. Because then you'll be like, oh, I really care about my clothes. Oh, it's also sustainable to like air dry them, but that also means they're gonna last longer, and that's good for you because you love fashion.
Exactly.
I can get my iced tea every day, and it like stays cold in my little insulated cup.
Exactly.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah. Or like everything tastes better through a metal straw.
It really does. Personal opinion. It's different.
Like you find the little joys.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, it has to be something that you care about.
Yeah. I agree. I think on the fashion front, obviously we got to get into that. I feel like you're the queen of like closet audits, cost per wear, stuff like that. And I feel like you've made me so conscious of that. When I like moved to LA, I downsized my closet so much because I was like, I obviously needed to downsize generally.
Yeah.
But I really downsized so much, and I like had so many pieces that I was just like, I haven't worn this in years. Why am I still holding on to this? Or like it didn't fit properly, but I was like, maybe one day I'll fix. I'm not gonna fix it.
Yeah.
I know I can. I have a pile of things that I'm gonna fix that I like thrifted that I'm like, I just need to no.
Yeah.
I
not
know.
Gonna happen.
I'm not gonna do that. I'd rather make something from scratch than fix something up. Like, don't ask me why, but I literally hate it. But yeah, now I've become so conscious of like every piece that I bring into my closet because I've like looked at everything that I had and I was like, I have so many things I don't even reach for. And now I have like no clothes, it feels like. But I love all the clothes that I have.
Yeah.
But it's so much less than what I grew up having because I used to like, I had way too many clothes.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
And back then it was like, you couldn't be caught dead wearing the same thing twice.
Literally, this is, just a little flex. But anyway, I got nominated for Best Dress as my senior superlative in high school. And
did you win? Or were you just nominated? Okay, good.
Nominated and won. Which was shocking because I was not necessarily a cool kid in high school, so I was shocked people even knew who I was. But it was because I was caught dead with the same outfit, and people noticed that. And also I would wear heels to school and you could hear my heels clicking everywhere. I was one of those people. I literally wore like these boots to high school. Yeah, anyway, I was that person. But it's like that was like my thing. Like people knew that I never repeated an outfit, and if I like was wearing sweats one day, people would think I'd be like sick. Like it was to that level of like if Natalia's not dressed up, like something's wrong. Which like nowadays I like barely get dressed up. I was like, I don't know how I did that. But I was like my image for so long that it took me so like a while to be like, okay, I can rewear things.
Yeah, like deconstruct that.
Yeah. Like my jeans that I wear literally 24/7 that you literally called me out for the other day.
Because I saw you 2 days in a row. I was like, oh, I was yesterday. They were so cute.
Literally wearing the same jeans, same shoes. I just switched at the top. That's like my uniform, my boyish jeans and my like Veja sneakers. And then switch out the top.
Yeah.
That's what I wear every day. But I'm like, I love it. If it's great, why would I switch it out?
Yeah.
And now I like will post a million times. Like that cost per wear for those jeans are probably like less than a cent.
Want to know the cost per wear for these jeans that I'm wearing right now?
Yes, I actually do.
So I've only been calculating. I did a like pretty intense closet audit in 2018. And then I never looked at it ever again until this year because I wanted to calculate the cost per wear of all the stuff in my closet. So I only have 1 month worth of data.
Right.
But these jeans, let's see, pull up my little spreadsheet. I do have the Sheets app on my phone.
I love that for you. Also, you are selling that sheet.
Yes, I
As
am.
a downloadable
Yeah,
link.
$5.
So slay.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources on my website actually.
Yes. Just gonna plug that.
Yeah, I have a little ebook.
Yes,
Making
she
the
does.
most of what's in your closet, a
Yes,
practical
she
guide to
does.
starting your slow fashion journey with the clothing you already own. Yeah, it's all about just like taking a deep look at your
Yes.
closet, what clothes you have, walks you through the process of doing a closet audit, taking all the items out of your closet. Literally, like whether you add them to a spreadsheet, like me, crazy Excel girl, or
Love a
if
good
you add
spreadsheet.
them to like you take a picture of them. There's some
Right.
apps that do that. Just like literally looking through every single item in your closet.
Yeah.
Quite the activity.
It is quite the activity.
Yeah, and I have tips for like if you're not sure what to get rid of. Like I also hold on to things for a really long time.
Yeah, me too.
I have a little clothing rack or like a little part of my closet now where I'm like, if I'm unsure about something, I'll just put it back there.
Okay.
And in 3 months, I'll like put a little thing on my calendar, like check the back of the closet.
Oh.
And I'll be like, oh, I forgot I had this. Yeah, like I'm never gonna wear it.
Yeah.
Like it was out of sight, out of mind.
Literally.
Like it can go.
Yeah.
So it's tip like that. And then I have a really intense closet audit spreadsheet.
Love
if you want to like go in and look at how many items are secondhand versus new, there's like a whole dashboard with graphs.
That's literally what I did because I heard you talking about that. I was like, oh, I kind of am curious.
Yeah.
It was so fun to do, though.
I love the data. Yeah, I just love looking at that.
Me too.
And so what I did this year was make a closet audit one, which basically the only difference is you need to have a cost per wear one. You need to know the cost of the clothing that you spend.
Yeah.
Which, pro tip, if you buy things online, like on the apps,
right.
Depop, you can go in and like see your purchases, what you spent. Yeah. If you like search order confirmation in your email, unless you delete all of those, which I don't, I just unread them. Yeah. But or mark them as read. Yeah. But that will have all the information. Otherwise, do like a best approximate guess.
Like a guess.
So I'm tracking all the outfits that I've worn, and today's February 1st, so I have my first month done.
That's exciting. What's it looking like?
Let's see. I'm gonna sort by the number of times I wore an item.
Do you think those jeans are your most worn?
No, actually, because I've been paying attention, very close attention to what else was most worn, and it was a different pair of jeans, a different pair of Levi's that I also got secondhand.
Love that.
Okay, so let's see. My black ribcage straight jeans. 6 times in a month.
Thought it'd be more by now.
I know. Well, my other jeans were 13 times.
Oh, well that explains it.
But I'm also I'm crazy like this. I'm tracking my shoes. I'm tracking if I
As
like sunglasses, accessories, like literally sweatpants. Like if I change into sweatpants halfway through the day, I'm writing it down.
I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I just wore once.
Right.
And then like the majority of my closet that I haven't touched at all. But there's a lot of items that I've worn 5 times in a month. Yeah. That's easily. A lot.
It's a lot. Comparatively to what we probably used to do.
Oh,
back in the day.
Well, yeah, I'm probably going to wear these tomorrow.
Probably.
Did I wear these yesterday? I don't remember. I can check.
I don't know. I only know your hairy outfit, which was not the jeans, so I don't know what you wore before that.
Yeah, but like I think it's so cool to just, it's empowering too. There's so much you can learn from documenting what outfits you wear. Like when I was working at Vans at the headquarters, I just would take a little silly mirror selfie every day in the bathroom. First thing I would do. Nobody ever walked in on me while I was doing that, which was always my biggest fear. So it would be very quick. But I have like 100 outfit photos or something to look back on from my time at Vans. And I'm like, I wear a jacket every single day.
You are a jacket girly.
I didn't know that until I looked at these pictures and was like, oh, maybe it's worth like investing in a nice denim jacket instead of like having 3 from the thrift store that I hate and take off midway through the day. Right. But they're thrifted. Like, no, I can invest in a really nice one. Yeah. That I'm going to wear all the time.
Yeah, no, it totally goes into personal style, which is what I've noticed too. Because you like start to realize what you feel best in too, like for your own body type and like what you feel most comfortable in. Like I've noticed I'm like a big pants, little top kind of gal. Yeah. Very much so. I wear my leather jacket every single day of my life. It is falling apart. I really need a new one.
But you
But,
know
like,
that that's going to be a good purchase.
Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
if I get one, that's the one I'm gonna wear. Like, I have denim jackets. I don't wear any other jacket.
Yeah.
If you ever see me in a jacket, it is only
The
only
leather
my
jacket.
leather jacket that is literally falling apart. But I'm like, that's what I feel best in, so I'm gonna continuously wear that.
Yeah.
You know?
And that I love stuff like that because, again, like back at the beginning of my fashion journey, not even my sustainable fashion journey,
Mhm.
but at the beginning when I started my blog, I
Yeah.
was buying whatever was out on
Oh, me too.
display
Me
at
too.
the fast fashion stores. It was like, oh, this is on the front table.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
yeah,
it.
you're coming home with me. Crazy graphic tee.
Yeah.
Like, no, I wear my like One Direction t-shirt. I have a closet full of t-shirts and I wear
Yeah.
this one all the time and I've had it since 2012.
Yep. That's how it is.
That's how it is. But
Yeah.
I think it's empowering.
I think
to
so,
know,
too.
like, oh, I don't need to buy
No.
whatever's trending, or like even on TikTok, there's so much
Mhm.
of a like, oh my gosh, where did you get this? Here's the code. You can search on Zara, like the
Yeah.
product code. Like, we
It
don't
kills
need to
me.
be doing that. It kills me.
Yeah.
But when you know what your personal style is, like I know I wear high-waisted jeans
Yeah.
and a jacket 99% of the time.
Right.
In the summer, high-waisted jean shorts or a little skirt.
Yep.
That's also high-waisted. Like it's the same formula of things.
Right.
So I know if I see a long dress, I can be like, that is so cute,
But not for me.
but I'm not gonna wear it. Like,
Yeah.
realistically, I know that's not something I'm going to wear.
Yeah. Which is a very empowering thing to be able to say, because I feel like I used to see something on somebody, be like, that's so cute, I need it right now.
Immediate
But
add to
then,
cart.
yeah, but then like realizing, you know what? I'm never gonna wear that. / maybe I don't even like what that type of like thing looks like on. Like, there's
You
certain
can
people that look really good in like low-rise jeans. Love seeing them.
Could
I know
never.
damn well I will hate them on
I-
myself.
like my
Yeah, I know I
Liking
would
my
not
jeans up over-
not ever wear
Yeah,
them. But I'm like, I can just appreciate it and move on.
And you can think that something is really cute. Like,
Mhm.
fashion is art.
Yes,
I think we forget that a lot, Miss Fashion School girly.
Yes,
Fashion is art, and
Yes,
we
it
forget
is.
that. Like, you can think that something is so beautiful,
Right.
or funky or stylish. It doesn't mean you have to
Yeah,
have it.
It's not for everyone.
No.
It's not made for everybody, and it's
Yeah.
probably impossible for anything to be made to fit everybody, which I think is also a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because they assume everything can be for everybody, but that's just not how it is. And it shouldn't be like that, because we're all too individual for something to
Yeah.
fit all of us.
No. And there's enough variety out there that we can find
Yeah.
things. Yeah, I think it's just separating the like, this is what society taught me that like
Right.
is fashionable, or like if I'm looking like all the other girls, or this
Right.
person on the internet looks so beautiful in this dress, obviously I'm gonna look the same in it, or like I
Yeah.
have to be looking similar,
Right. Which
or
is
I
just,
need it to like get
Yeah.
that feeling. No.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's a solid note to end on.
Yeah.
I
would say
love that. That
so.
was great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me,
I'm
Natalia.
so happy to have you. Shout yourself out. Plug yourself. I'll have all the links down below,
Okay.
obviously.
So my social media handle, this is another funny story.
Yes. Go off.
Activism. People never know what it is. It's like activism, like, being an
Yeah.
activist, but like a t-shirt in there, because
Yeah,
I care about
that's really
fashion
cute.
and activism. So activism. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. It's my handle on there.
Soon
you
to be
know.
on YouTube.
Soon to be on, well, I exist on YouTube.
Soon to be posting on YouTube.
Soon to be posting on
There you
YouTube.
go.
Got it.
Yeah.
My website, activism.com. All my resources are on there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Slay.
slay.
I say that way too. I'm like really cautious to not say that on podcasts, but I can't not say it with you.
The amount of like ear hair that's been tucked behind
I
your ears in
know.
this episode.
I'm trying so hard to be professional, but
But
Slay.
this is how we are.
slay. Yes. Okay, well, on that note, thank you guys for watching, listening, subscribe, follow all the things, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.